This is a video just to pose kind of a question, more of a starting point than anything, but this is a really good topic. And just the idea of shills, trolls, gang stalkers, and JDIF type individuals out there that there's all sorts of people out there that are out to get you. We have real enemies. The Bible, if you open up Psalms, how often are the Psalms talking about enemies and how enemies are throwing darts at us and shooting arrows at us? And that is real life. That really is real life. And if you're a child of God, you have enemies, and your enemies are the children of Satan. And many of them act in strange and unusual ways that it's hard for us to pinpoint. And something that I hear people talk about, and I've thought about it in the past a lot, it kind of goes into this Bapho thing, except for with Baphos, it's much more of a culture. But it's this weird thing of, like, you get this sense that there's people out there with a sort of hive mind that you don't have access to. Not that you would want access to, but it's just myself and many others out there spending enough time on Earth, and especially myself dealing with having a YouTube channel. When you really put yourself out there, the more you put yourself out there, the more you'll feel this. You'll run into this. If you never put yourself out there in any way, and you're just a silent observer, you might not notice it as much, or you might think it's more fringe, but it becomes kind of obvious that there's a sort of hive mind out there that influences evil people in the way that they act. I've seen narcissistic videos talking about it, about how it doesn't matter where you are in the world, narcs will say the same thing. They'll say the same thing as if they're getting a script from the same source. What is that source? Is it demonic? Are all narcissists being influenced by a demon of some sort? And that's why they all act in the same way. I don't think it always has to be trained or taught to them. Certain women that are infected, I don't know what you want to say, possessed by the Jezebel spirit, may act in the same way without knowing one another, without trading communication cards. And same way narcissists may learn how to manipulate through a demonic force, teaches them all how to manipulate in the same way. So just something to think about. What is that AI hive mind? So the Baphos, I feel like the Baphos have this sort of hive mind. They can sniff out a non-Bapho, and they sniff out one another, but a lot of that's very cultural. They throw the same hand signs, they talk in certain ways, they got the look. Whereas other times, it almost just seems, I've heard people talk about it's like some sort of AI. I don't know, not everything's AI. That's just, it's magic. It's demonic, it's spiritual. And let's read this. This is from Acts chapter 16. And so I'm going to start reading at verse 16. And it came to pass, as we went to prayer, a certain damsel possessed with a spirit of divination met us, which brought her masters much gain by soothsaying. Just a cool part of the Bible, too. The way that they matter-of-factly talk about this stuff and how that makes sense. Here's a woman who really is a diviner. She can predict the future. Well, maybe be careful about ascribing certain skills to these people. They're being told things by demons. So who knows? Maybe demons are really good at predicting what's going to happen. I don't know exactly how it happens. What just popped into my head is like Ozzy Osbourne allegedly would know the gender of all his friends' children. He would, just know, oh, you're going to have a boy, you're going to have a girl, or whatever. Who knows? Maybe Ozzy has a demon who's telling him those things. And maybe to Ozzy it just appears as a feeling. How do these things happen? Like a woman who has a spirit of divination. I mean, the way they say it right there, it's like there's a spirit inside of her. There's some sort of demonic force inside of her that's telling her the answer. And she probably does just get a feeling like, oh, this is what it's going to be. and she's just the vessel for that demonic force. But what's so interesting to me here is how much this makes sense that she has masters. She almost has like pimps that are pimping her out for her divination, and they're getting a bunch of money using this woman. So interesting to me. Okay, Paul, I'm not going to get into the Paul stuff because I do have opinions about that, but, you know, who knows? Who knows what's going on here? I'm able to take the Bible at face value when I'm reading it and set my baggage aside. I still don't know how I feel personally about Paul, but we can set that down for this video. The same followed Paul and us and cried, saying, "These men are the servants of the Most High God, which show unto us the way of salvation." And she did many days. But Paul, being grieved, turned and said to the Spirit, "I command thee in the name of Jesus Christ to come out of her." And he came out the same hour. And when her masters saw that the hope of their gains was gone, they caught Paul and Silas and drew them into the marketplace unto the rulers, and brought them to the magistrates, saying, "These men, being Jews, do exceedingly trouble our city, and teach customs which are not lawful for us to receive, neither to observe, being Romans." And the multitude rose up together against them, and the magistrates rent off their clothes, and commanded to beat them. And when they had laid many stripes upon them, they cast them into prison, charging the jailer to keep them safely. Who, having received such a charge, thrust them into the inner prison, and made their feet fast in the stocks. There really is a lot of interesting stuff in the book of Acts, and the whole thing about the jailers, and like, if you were put in prison, you were assigned a jailer, and they took it it was personal. Every prisoner had somebody that was supposed to be watching them, and they would not want the prisoner to leave, because if their prisoner left, the penalty was death for a prison guard letting their prisoner run free. And that reminds me of Elan. I don't know, I don't think I ever did a video on it, but if you look into Elan, E-L-A-N, this horrible school, can't even call it a school, it's a demonic place for Bafo children, or just government children that have no family, but they have government funds. They get sent to these demonic schools. I'm sure you've heard about it. Paris Hilton got sent to one. You know, these reform schools. I had a cousin get sent to one. They're places where Bafos with a lot of money just hand off their children, and they just go and get abused there by demonic forces. But anyways, at Elan, they had all sorts of rules like this. It's something strange about, it would be situations where the Elan children would be like prison keepers of the other Elan children, and if their prisoner escaped, it was very steep, the punishments for if your prisoner escaped. That's just what that reminded me of. You know, nothing new under the sun. And that too begs the question, why do evil people like that, why can Elan exist and they end up exhibiting the same types of behavior of people of the past? It's just weird. Like there's demonic forces that are waiting about for after the reset, and then they start infecting the new hosts, and the same evil cycle just starts up and up again. Okay, to get to the point. Let's get to the point. I thought that in the book of Acts, this was a very specific example of a type of shill that you run into. And I don't know that you would know about this type of shill unless you ran a YouTube channel or put yourself out there. Hey, it could even be something as simple as you run a shop or something. You're a worker at a place, and you have a customer who comes in and they pretend to be nice. That's the main point of this type of demonic shill activity, is that there's people out there that they pretend to be on your side, but they have no good intentions. And this gets abused all the time, where evil people know that if they can just be kind of nice to people for about 5 minutes, that then they can just start their evil undermining ways. And if they just keep the most thin facade of being a nice person on the outside, that people won't tell them to frig off. So I just loved this from the book of Acts, because it's like, I have dealt with this so many times. And it took me a while before I realized that you just need to ignore, block all time waster, nicety nice shills, and don't feel bad about it. It's not your personal responsibility to cater to other individuals. So let's say that somebody is just nice and leaving me nice comments and stuff. It's still not my responsibility to interact with other people. You know, I don't have to interact with anybody. So there was just too many instances of nicety nice people where it turned out that they were just demonic shills wasting my time. That, you know, if 5 or so actual nice people end up getting blocked and ignored by me, I'm okay living with that. It's not my responsibility to live for every person out there. You know, if I end up blocking a few actual nice people in the process for my own mental sanity, I'm okay with that. And I'm sorry if I've blocked some nice people out there that were just trying to be nice. You know, in the future, don't leave me paragraphs and paragraphs of stuff. Don't praise me either. That's another thing I have come to really dislike. And because it is idolatry too. And I do appreciate that. Every once in a while I see things on like TikTok of these hip hop artists. They start taking off their gold jewelry and stuff, and they're telling their followers, "Hey, I'm nothing. I'm a guy. Like, you're idolizing me. I'm nothing. God is everything." I feel the same way even just about a YouTube person. It makes me cringe so hard to go, you know, watch a John Levi video or something and see people praising this person so much. Don't be impressed by people. Don't praise people like that. It's fine. If somebody does something nice, you can say that they did a nice thing, but it's just so awkward to me. Oh, you're the greatest. Stuff like that. Nowadays, when somebody comes up and leaves a comment, oh, you're the greatest. Oh, master this, master that. You're a master of this. You're the greatest. My mind immediately goes to this. Acts chapter 16. This is somebody demonic trying to fluff me up for who knows what reasons. Sometimes it's there to get you egotistical. God doesn't like egomaniacs. So sometimes there really will be demonic forces out there coming to praise you. Oh, you're so great. Oh, you're so good. You need to be careful in both directions. If somebody walks up to you and they're nasty to you or they're overly critical to you for no reason, yeah, be skeptical of that. What's actually really interesting to me, and I love it when there's stuff like this, a really, really old book on music that I have read parts of. It's like Baroque era music performance. The author says that they say, obviously don't listen to people that nitpick every single thing about you, but also don't listen to anybody that's just out there praising you for every little thing you do. They're useless. That's not helpful. And a lot of times it's not truthful, and it can be from a place of demonic influence, like this lady here. So to get to this thing in Acts 16, I just want to point it out again in case I didn't make it clear. What did this demon-possessed lady do? She didn't do anything overly mean to the disciples of Jesus, and that is telling. But then it wasn't okay. That doesn't mean that what this lady was doing was good. She was bothering them, following them for days. Oh, these people are so awesome. That's annoying. And it's okay to block and ignore people, even if they're just being positive. So I'll just read the part again. She was saying good things. These men are the servants of the Most High God, which show unto us the way of salvation. And she wasn't even lying. So that is just very telling that there can be demonically influenced people that come off appearing nice enough. And it's not your responsibility to those people. And a lot of times they're clingy and annoying, and you need to tell them to go away and leave you alone. Paul, being grieved, turned and said to the spirit. I mean, he casted out the devil, and, you know, or casted out, you know, the demon, I should say. Yeah, I think I've mostly said everything. This is just a really good topic. Shills, they act in strange ways. This makes me think of concern trolling. Like, I had no idea what concern trolling was until I started to get interested in conspiracy and becoming active on forums and stuff. The notion of concern trolling. And this is why giving things names can be so powerful and important, because then you can start to study it. once you give something a name, concern trolling, then I can write a paper about concern trolling and describe the ways in which people concern troll. And if you have no idea what concern trolling is, well, the word concern and troll, it's a troll who is bringing up concerns, but the whole point of what makes it a troll is that they present themselves as being supporting to the cause. And I would say that concern trolling is way more common than the type of trolling that happens in Act 16, where she's just fluffing them up. Oh, I mean, it seems like she was following them around saying nothing but good things about them. And yes, that is a type of shill activity. I will block many people who are nothing but pleasant, but they fill up your board, they fill it up with nonsense. They talk about off-topic things. They act in certain ways. You'll figure it out. And even if, I'm going to say this again, you might even block a few regulars in the way, not your responsibility, and it's okay. Okay, man, getting distracted. Oh, concern trolling. So they will come in, it's almost, they act in the same way. It's like they get trained on this, but I don't know that they get trained on this. They will give you a few positives. They'll say something like, oh, hey Hans, I love your videos. You're so cool. and then come the concerns. Hey, but I'm just not. So here, when I first started doing my animal videos, oh man, the shilling was out of control. First of all, almost always the first couple people to comment are shills, trolls, these types of people, demonically influenced. Maybe they're paid for it. Who knows? But have you noticed how a lot of times the greatest fans of people are the haters? A lot of times the biggest number one fans of people are the most dedicated haters. So you know that your number one, your number two, your number three most dedicated haters have you on subscribe. They have sock accounts and they have those ones on subscribe. They're the first ones watching your new video. They're the first ones commenting on your new video, trying to get something out of you. But they learn that they can't just be nasty, and then they try to appear nice and then undermine you later. If anyone starts their own YouTube, if anyone puts themselves out there in any way, like I said earlier too, it doesn't even have to be on the internet. If you put yourself out there, you will run into this type of behavior. People pretending to be buddy-buddy, but they will try to undermine you. And the only advice I have to give out is what I've said in this video, and that you eventually develop a thick skin to it. You spot it a mile away, and you get really, really good at block, ignore instantly, and don't feel bad if you potentially block, ignore somebody who's nice. Don't go wild with it. Obviously, I don't block literally everything. And a lot of times there are things where I'm like, oh, you're an annoying troll, but it's easier to ignore. Obviously, there's lines to be drawn in the sand here. In this example, this lady was following them for 3 days, being obnoxious. So, also, forgiveness is important, and not having a totally short fuse. So, as always, use your discernment. But it's one of those things where regular people, we feel kind of bad blocking people, but you'll get over it. Boundaries. It's okay to have personal boundaries. And it's not my personal responsibility to take care of everybody else in the world. I think that's an important thing. Care about yourself and your own house first. That's it for this video. God bless everyone.